Okay, today we are going to learn how to find equivalent or how to write equivalent expressions using the distributive property. We have talked about the distributive property before. So it is when you multiply the outside number with each term that is inside the parentheses. So there's actually two distributive properties: the distributive property of addition and the distributive property of subtraction. So the only difference is that one is addition and one is subtraction. So A times B plus C is equivalent or equal to A times B plus A times C. And with subtraction, A times B minus C is equal to or equivalent to A times B minus A times C. This can be confusing, so I'm going to show you an example of what it means to create or write an equivalent expression using the distributive property. Okay, so here is my example. Let me just put this up here. I have 3 times 4x minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to have to multiply the outside number, in this case it is 3, with each term inside the parentheses. So in the parentheses I have two terms. I have 4x and I have 1. Okay, and we have done this before. You've seen where I make these arrows, right? To distribute means I'm sharing the 3 with each term. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 4x times 4x, and it is subtraction, and then I'm also going to write 3 times 1. So remember, anytime you have a number next to something in parentheses, that means multiplication. So 3 times 1, 3 times 4x. When I multiply this, 3 times 4 is 12, and I have x. I have my minus sign, and 3 times 1 is 3. So 12x minus 3. So using the distributive property, by sharing the 3, by distributing the 3 to each term, I have made an equivalent expression. So 3 times 4x minus 1 is equivalent to or equal to 12x minus 3. Okay? We can also use the distributive property in reverse order. So going from this and working our way back to figure out an equivalent expression where we have a number times something in parentheses. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. So reverse distribution, that's called reverse distribution. We're distributing, but we're just doing it backwards. We're doing it in reverse. You can also call this factoring. Sometimes you might hear that. Those are the same things. So when we are doing reverse distribution or factoring, we have to look for the common factor of both the terms, and that common factor has to be greater than 1. If it is 1, we're just going to end up with the same thing. Okay, so to do this, I look at what my expression is, 2x plus 4. Okay, so my terms are 2x and 4. And I ask myself, what factor can go into 2 and 4? It has to be the same thing. Let's see. Well, for 2, the only thing I have is 1 and 2, and I can't use 1. It has to be greater than 1. So I'm going to do 2. So 2 divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2. Can 4 be divided by 2? Yes, it can. Okay, so now I know that 2 is going to be the number that's going to go on the outside of my parentheses. I know that this is addition. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. I can write 1x, or I can just write x, because x represents just one number. And 4 divided by 2. How many times does 2 go into 4? It goes in 2 times. So I have 2 times x plus 2. Now to check to make sure that this is indeed an equivalent expression, I'm going to write it out, and we're going to distribute. X plus 2. All right, so when I distribute this, 2 times x gives me 2x, plus 2 times 2 gives me 4. This is exactly the same as this, so I know that 2x plus 4 is indeed equivalent to or equal to 2 times x plus 2. Okay, so let's try another one. Hold on one second. Alexa, stop timer. Sorry, guys. Let's try this one. 8x plus 2. So again, I'm using reverse distribution or factoring. I have to figure out what is a common factor of 8 and 2. In this case, it happens to be 2 again. So 2 can go into 2, and 2 can also go into 8. So I know that 2 is going to be my outside number. 2 times something plus something. Okay, so what are these numbers? Let's figure that out. Well, how many times can 2 go into 8? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so 2 times 4x. And I have to remember to bring my x. 2 times 4x plus, okay, how many times does 2 go into 2? 1 time. Okay, so let's check and see if this is indeed equivalent or equal to. So I'm going to distribute this to double check. 2 times 4x gives me 8x. 2 times 1 gives me 2, and this is addition. I have 8x plus 2. Oh, look at this. This is the same, 8x plus 2. So these are equivalent. Okay, so you have seen how to do reverse distribution or factoring, as well as just plain distribution, multiplying the outside number with each term. And that is how you find equivalent expressions using the distributive property.